Great. They don't give you a gavel?
They don't. They've learned not to give me any weapons.
Oh, okay. I just saw it.
Good afternoon. I'm going to call to order the February 16th, 2023 Coos Bay Parks Commission meeting. We'll do a roll call. It will start with online. Coco?
Here.
Carmen Matthews here.
I think she was on mute.
Online, we've got Coco Sutton and Carmen Matthews. Bill?
Can you hear me?
Bill Davis.
Ariane Lyons?
Jamie Faraday.
Dave Wagner.
Greg Hamlet.
Jennifer Worsing.
Thank you.
Can you
First
all hear
item
us?
is the approval of the minutes. We have a lengthy backlog of minutes. We've got enough people for a quorum. Can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes?
This is Coco Sutton. I motion that we
can see that
approve.
she's talking and it's highlighting, but we can't hear it. So I think the speaker's turned off. Just a minute, Coco. We're working on the audio.
Okay.
Should we have Counselor Matthews do a sound check?
Mm-hmm.
I've been talking the whole time.
Yeah, it's the speaker.
Are we doing them
So
all?
we can't hear you either, so we're looking into it.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you,
Please
Carmen.
hold for technical difficulties.
Who's going to hum the song right now, the music?
Carmen, this is Coco. Can you hear me?
I think the person suggested it.
I can do that.
Can you hear me now, Coco?
I can hear you. I've been able to hear you. I just don't know if the council can hear it.
No, they can't. They have the speakers turned off.
Okay, well, I hear you just fine.
Good.
Yes, because we were reviewing the master plan.
Oh, sure. Makes sense.
So I guess now would be a good time to ask Carmen and Coco all the questions that they can't contest you.
I heard that they are volunteering to clean up 6 plots each at the cemetery.
No objections. Motion carried.
Wasn't she going to buy dinner tonight?
I think so.
Or at least dessert?
Yeah. Coco, can we try having you say something to see if it's working?
Okay, this is Coco Sutton. Sound check.
There's probably like one switch
Just
somewhere.
going to have her nod her head, yes or no.
That would mean all of the local people at the desk will have to do the motion work.
And there's no other way to text message.
So because are the physical speakers in the room turned on?
Yes.
Can we make the computer make a noise to be sure that they are? Besides
I assume
this.
she's got it off of mute.
Yeah. 'Cause, 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 'cause,
we have something showing up in front of, on the screen. Maybe try it again here in a second.
You've been wanting to do that for
They
years.
move, they're not, they're just mounted on wheels, so they move around.
Go ahead and try your signing in.
Well,
Let's see what it says.
I assume she knows how to take it off of you.
So we do have a quorum with these two, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Never had this happen before. In the many Zooms we've done in the last 3 years.
Okay. So Coco makes a motion to approve all minutes as presented. Can I get a second?
Second.
So I have a first and a second from, first from Coco, a second from Bill. All those in favor say aye. Raise your hand, or Carmen,
Aye.
would you put in the chat if you approve? Carmen approves?
Yeah, he had a thumbs up.
Okay. With further discussion? Motion carries. Because they can hear us, we'll move on down to our next agenda items. Citizen input, public comment, not related to agenda items.
So Cricket Souls in Coos Bay and work with the Marshfield Pioneer Cemetery, and Greg will have some good news to share later. Even though we can't hear Coco, I want to say that she's actually volunteered to help a little bit as we go forward looking for stuff, and she actually attended the Oregon Historic Cemeteries Commission workshop the other day, and we reached out to her on that. But the other news that's coming up, we got a sort of last minute request from the State Advisory Committee on Historic Preservation. So they're again another group through the state parks, and they're the ones that vote and qualify properties to be National Register things. So they will be meeting at the Liberty tomorrow afternoon, and it's a really interesting process to watch. They've met at the Egyptian in past years, and it's very interesting. And the chair of the committee is Stephen Dow Beckham, who's a Coos Bay native. So they are hoping to be able to tour the cemetery tomorrow.
It's supposed to be sunny.
What's that?
I think the sun's supposed to come out.
It's supposed to, their time, they've got a lot of things going on, so.
Ouch.
There we go. So, and just for Coco and Carmen, because they weren't here, so we have some new bookmarks to keep updating information about what's going on, and also buttons. So we have buttons a button machine was donated by iFixit, so we're taking good advantage of that. And we are using the logo that we have carrying through on all our projects. And then the high school art classes and some other classes have done the coloring. So we, another kind of propaganda that we can get out there to let people know where we're at and what we're doing. Does anyone have any questions as we move forward with anything? Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And to point out on your sheet here, it does say Saturday, May 13th from 1 to 3. Oregon Bay Area Beautification will be hosting a work day. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention.
Can I ask one of the online commissioners to try to speak again, please?
This is Coco.
Gotcha, Coco. Loud
We
and
can hear
clear.
you.
I feel like Houston.
All
Can you
right.
hear me?
We can hear you, Carmen.
Woo!
All right, thank you very much. We will move on down to the discussion, unless Greg, you want to update about the cemetery now or later?
Sure. Today I had the privilege of accompanying Cricket up to the Three Rivers Casino, where the Marshfield Pioneer Cemetery accepted a grant from.
Adrian and Bill are the only people there. Come here and look at this.
Yeah, let's move Bev.
Where Three Rivers Foundation issued a grant for $5,000 for the Marshfield Pioneer Cemetery.
Perfect.
We had a nice time, a nice lunch, nice visit with some of our peers up there and other groups that received grant monies from the organization, and so we had a really pleasant time. So thank you, Cricket, for your efforts once again, and Becky, please pass that on to her as well.
It's always exciting because we know that you usually have great news. So it's motion forward, which is great.
Becky did suggest that, as you go forward with the agenda of the grant writer, she works for chocolate. She's a lot more.
Perfect.
That was the price quote given to me today when I asked Cricket. She said chocolate is
Good.
appropriate.
Good to know. Moving on to the discussion about moving swings at Mingus Park.
Thank you. So city staff was approached by several residents within the park, or several visitors or residents of the community and visitors to the park to kind of improve the park area a little bit. Brief summary is last January, the city was struck by some winter storms, caused some damage to some park properties. One of those was a swing set in the kiddie area or the south playground area. Staff has been receiving questions or comments from citizens or visitors to the park to relocate the kiddie playground equipment a little bit closer to the main playground area. And so on the attached exhibit, I've included a diagram of where the playground was kept previously in the south area, south of the pavilion or the restroom area, the Mingus Park playground area. Staff would like to move the playground equipment that we received from the insurance dollars a little bit closer to the main playground area where older kids and younger kids, if you're a parent with those two age demographics, can have access to those other playground without having to have moving the children from one place to another. So staff is requesting that the commission approve the request to relocate the park asset.
So it says swings. Is it more than swings?
It is a swing set. It was just replacing. It was.
This is the small kiddie ones that have the kind of seats that they sit in. That
Correct.
One. I've often thought for years that all of that equipment should be over there, and then that south end that's always got kind of too moist could be a dog park with very little fencing.
You probably know what my comment's going to be is we need a master plan for the entire park instead of piecemealing every single little tiny piece to the park. That's my continuous comment about Mingus. At one time we were discussing going after some grants and moving forward with a revitalization of the park in general because of the bathrooms, and the entire park itself needs some love to be nice. That has been shelved. Are we looking at moving forward with that in the future since it is a priority park in our master plan?
Well, I think the park master plan has identified Mingus Park three priorities, and obviously the park needs to be improved to other areas, but right now that is not been looked at with the park master plan at this point in time. Other areas have been within the Mingus Park, but this particular playground set or swing set, because it's replacing an existing swing set that was damaged, that's why we're bringing this to the commission for that approval.
So,
Any additional commissioner comments? Bev? Coco?
I don't have anything except I do like the plan to get those ponds dredged out. Thank you.
Coco, you have your hand raised.
Yes, I would like to propose that we look at making some subcommittees to start working on the master plan for Mingus Park, since we have the priorities that we identified with the ponds and that bridge in Toppets. I'm not objecting to this immediate replacement of the equipment in another location, but I think it's a good opportunity to set up a subcommittee and start working on that ASAP so that it doesn't get too piecemealed. Thank you.
Thank you, Coco. I think personally I'd like to see 2 commissioners, if they would be willing to volunteer to head up the subcommittee for Mingus Park to work along with the city to do some public outreach, which is always good to do when you see new equipment placed, and to find out what people would like in the park, and then we can pursue some grant opportunities for revitalization of the park in entirety. But that is not my motion, because I can't make a motion. So, Coco?
Yes, I would like to see us address, I had a question for Greg. Is the swing set already received?
Yes.
So at this time, I think the consensus of the commission is that we can look at the relocation of the swing set, but the movement forward needs to be made to look at the park in its entirety for revitalization. I do need a motion to move forward.
is that, you want a motion to approve what's been recommended, plus look to go forward with looking at the park as a whole as to where things should be moved to if necessary,
Yeah.
right? I so move.
Got a first from Bill,
This is Coco, I second.
and second from Coco. All those in, any further discussion?
Does this include a committee?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes. Amended to include committee. Any further discussion?
Yes, this is Coco. Do we want to discuss who those members will be now, or did you want to wait till after the motion passes?
I thought we could pass the motion and then select committee members, if that's okay.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye or raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Coco. And Bev, motion or approval, non-approval? I think the microphone's off again. Okay. And we have 3, 4, 5. That should be enough. 5 is enough. So motion is approved. Any volunteers to head up the subcommittee for looking at Mingus Park?
I'll go on that.
We've got Bill,
How many do you want?
at least 2
This is-
commissioners.
This is Coco. I would work with someone that, as a helper.
Okay. So we have Coco and Bill, and then any other commissioners can participate as much as they want, but we'll designate you two to head up
Okay.
the subcommittee.
Okay.
Presentation of draft schedule for the request of qualifications for a Parks Grant writer.
Okay, this kind of leads into that. Last month, the city manager came to this commission and told the commission that he was going to set aside and budget for a grant writer for next fiscal year. That begins July 1st of 2023, and that was going to be in the amount of $50,000. So in order to hit the ground running, we wanted to lay out a schedule to procure that grant writer. Because of the cost, we have some procurement requirements that we have to satisfy. And so what we are proposing is what they call a request for qualifications. And so I put together a schedule, and I'd like, if this commission approves this path forward, I'd like to get a kickoff meeting going sometime next week. And then from February 21st to March 10th, we are going to draft the RFQ and create scoring sheets. And this all kind of goes back to our procurement requirements. The week of March 13th, finalize the RFP, and we want to also present that to the Parks Commission for approval. March 20th or April 20th, advertise the RFP. That may seem like a long time, but everybody is so busy right now. If you put a short time frame, I'm fearful you won't get as many people submitting statement of qualifications. But again, we'll take any feedback that you have. So April 20th, the proposal package will be due. The committee would review the proposals between the 24th and 28th, and then meet on the beginning of May to review the submittals and discuss whether or not they want to select just out of the statement of qualifications or if they want to conduct interviews. And then in June 15th, we'll present the recommendation of the committee to this commission and award the contract on July 5th.
Okay.
So I'm just here to get any feedback or answer any questions you may have about this process.
And what's your typical RFP advertisement?
30 days.
But method?
Oh, good question. Well, typically, we do like wastewater projects. So we advertise in the Daily Journal of Commerce and the World. So that's a good question. You have any? I mean, we do the World. I am comprising a list of grant writers, and I plan on just reaching out and alerting them to the advertisement. But if you have any other suggestions, I'd love to hear.
I think the Friday update, because
update?
that goes to many people besides just locals. And then I know I forward the Friday update to a lot of people based on the people I think might be interested. So I think that would be a good recommendation. And then, of course, the city's Facebook page, because that's most people that I know that are under 30, that's where they do most of their job hunting. So.
Oh, okay. We'll do that. Thank you. Any other comments? It looks like someone's got their hand raised. Coco.
Yes, on this schedule, does any of this have to go to the city council in addition to the Parks Commission?
Because of the dollar amount, it's in the city manager's authority to approve.
Okay, so that's just going to be on the Parks Commission and then moving forward.
And the city manager has already directed staff to move forward.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any additional commissioner comments? No? I don't think we need a vote on this. It's just a recommendation, is my understanding. So,
This is just guidelines, right? I mean, if something happens so it goes faster, it'd be all right.
there are minimum advertisement requirements they have to do. So that timeline doesn't always get to adjust, but the hope is always that it doesn't get extended. It's the hope.
And the way we set this up, even if we went faster, we couldn't award something probably until after the fiscal year starts, which is July 1st. So if you look here, we have a July 5th award, which is just 4 days after the fiscal year. So.
And then what day is July 5th? You'll be open, right?
Yes.
It's not like a Monday.
It's right after. I think it's obviously it's after.
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We're excited about the process.
You are too.
Any additional staff comments?
No, thank you. Just once again, thank you to the commissioners. I know you guys are very passionate about what we do in the parks, and I appreciate that. We strive to meet the vigor that you guys have for it, but I appreciate everybody's time and efforts to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner comments? Oh, Bill? Jamie?
Once the grant writer is identified, then we need to come up with the project's specifics for them to then move
You
forward.
can, and I would also suggest or recommend that, we have a meeting with them, because they're going to know the monies that are available out there, and the money available may dictate the projects. I totally hear the need for Zemeckis Park attention, and then I think Toppets Bridge was also mentioned. But if the money is available for other projects, I think.
Oh, yeah, we'll take whatever money we can get.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, always been a big proponent of individual master plans for each park setting, because we can dovetail some of those grant applications for matching funds. So that's why I like to have the plan as a whole for each of our assets, so that as we move forward, when there's projects that are near or adjacent to the park, we can utilize those matching funds, so we're not also coming up with additional funds on the other side. So I will continue to harp on that, and I have done it for the last 12 years, and I'll just continue to do so. So, Coco, you have your hand up. Closing comments?
Yes, I wanted to know if in the scope of Bill and I working on the master plan, because I would recommend that we use the same template that we did on the regular master plan, and just pull the Mingus part out and start with that. Do we want to also start working on the supplemental information for grants for the pond while we're doing this? Do we want to start coming up with the framework for that? Because any grants that you put in with, they want to know things like, obviously, what your master plan is, your proposal, impact on the community, in-kind, volunteer hours, etc. So as we work on this, is that something we should start formulating so that when we do get a grant writer or identify grants, we can start applying for them? Thank you.
I think collecting the information so that as we move forward and the grant writer identifies grants and opportunities, we can provide that information. So, of course, while you're in the middle of the process, I think that's a great opportunity to collect data. As we found doing the master plan, there's so much data out there, but it's not all in one spot.
And so, just to be clear, as we're pulling Mingus out of the master plan, is that kind of just as an outline, because the master plan has been...
Yeah, no, we have the parks master plan, and then we'll have master plans with actual plans for each asset. So there's the overarching parks master plan, and then a much more detailed plan for each park.
So you're not talking about amending the approved master plan that we just did?
Yeah, no, we approved the giant major Marks master plan, but there's some generalities in that, because you can't be specific because it's over a longer period of time. So that when you evaluate the individual parks master plan, you can get more into, we need 36 benches would be the standard based on this side of park. And if we, should we do bass, fish? There's more nuanced component pieces that you don't waste your time putting in a large master plan, because that changes based on polling and individuality.
Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification.
Mm-hmm. Carmen, any closing comments?
None here, but thank you.
Thank you. Bev?
None here. Thank you.
Thanks, Bev. Jamie, additional comments?
No.
No? Bill, you're good? All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate everyone coming today. A short and sweet Parks meeting, but we're moving forward with a lot of great stuff. So thank you so much. We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks all.